That day began like any other. People woke up, traffic roared, phones vibrated with urgent messages, and the world seemed to move with the same rush as always. No one suspected that in a matter of minutes, something impossible was about to happen. At 9 in the morning, Universal Time, a vibration swept across the entire planet. It was not a common tremor or a natural phenomenon we could explain. It was an abrupt silence, a kind of void that enveloped everything. The birds stopped flying, cars halted without braking, and clocks in every city around the world marked the same second before losing their movement. It was as if the Earth, tired of spinning, had decided to rest for the first time in billions of years. I was in my room, staring at the computer screen, when I felt that gravity itself seemed to alter. It wasn't a jolt, but the sensation that something gigantic had changed far away, yet close enough to be felt. At first, no one understood what was happening. News broadcasts were interrupted, satellites ceased transmission, and scientists in their laboratories observed readings so absurd they seemed like system errors. But they weren't. Little by little, a terrifying truth began to spread in whispers. The Earth's rotation was abruptly slowing down, almost as if an unknown force was holding it back. And then, seconds later, the impossible happened. The Earth came to a complete stop. A whole planet halted in the midst of cosmic void. When I tried to uncover the origin of the clock, I discovered that there was no official record of it. No catalog, no historical archive, no reference in museums or private collections. It was as if the object had appeared out of nowhere. However, inside the lid, I found a tiny inscription, almost imperceptible, "What was still is." That phrase haunted me for days. Did it mean that the past was still alive? Or that some moments had never truly concluded? The visions began to intensify. They were no longer isolated memories, but complete scenes unfolding with disturbing clarity. I walked through cities that seemed both ancient and modern at the same time, listened to languages that existed in no record, and witnessed events that seemed to erase and rewrite their own sequence. It was as if time was trying to communicate with me through scattered fragments. One day, the clock stopped marking any known hour and began to display patterns of light between the numbers. I didn't know it could emit light, but there it was, a soft glow that slowly changed shape. I understood that this was not a simple message. It was a warning. And when I touched the illuminated glass, I felt it, a deep vibration, like a pulse coming from another era. At that moment, an idea crossed my mind with absolute certainty. The clock was searching for something, or someone. I decided to follow each of the signals, even though I didn't understand their purpose. It led me to places that seemed ordinary, but when I stopped and looked closely, I discovered small cracks in reality. Shadows that moved with a delay, reflections that showed different scenes, echoes of conversations that had not yet occurred. I felt I was on the brink of a discovery that would rewrite everything I thought I understood about time. Each step I took pulled me away from the reality I knew and brought me closer to an uncertain territory, but one that was impossible to ignore. The following hours were a mix of tension, uncertainty, and a strange silence that felt heavier than the air itself. In the area where I lived, the sun remained motionless in a point of the sky, casting a light that neither advanced nor receded. The temperature began to rise alarmingly, as if the planet were trapped under a gigantic lamp with no possibility of escape. Many sought refuge in basements, tunnels, or air-conditioned buildings, but no one knew how long they could endure. Amidst that suffocating atmosphere, a message emerged from an isolated scientific station that still had power. They claimed to have detected a signal before the global halt, a kind of pulse emitted from an unknown point beyond the lunar orbit. The news spread like a whisper that grew uncontrollably, and soon everyone was talking about the same thing. An external entity had intervened, perhaps an advanced civilization, or maybe something we couldn't even comprehend. I heard this information on an old portable radio that miraculously continued to work, and although part of me wanted to dismiss it as a desperate theory, Another part understood that there was no logical alternative. If that signal existed, it meant we were not alone, and that someone had the ability to stop an entire planet. The remaining authorities tried to organize research groups, but with communications destroyed and resources limited, everything progressed at a frustratingly slow pace. Meanwhile, the world was divided between those who wanted to seek contact and those who feared that any response could worsen the situation. I, amidst it all, felt that a much deeper truth was hidden behind that mysterious pulse, something that no one had yet considered. That truth began to reveal itself when a group of scientists managed to partially decode the pulse captured before the Earth came to a halt. It wasn't a message in the traditional sense. There were no words or recognizable patterns, but there was a repetitive structure that seemed to contain a warning. According to their initial interpretation, the signal was not an attack, but a kind of emergency protocol activated by an unknown intelligence. Something had crossed a threshold that should not have been crossed, and the stopping of the planet was a response to prevent greater harm. This theory, although hard to believe, explained the precision with which the phenomenon had been executed. I heard this new information on the same radio that had become my only connection to the world, and as the distorted voices tried to explain the inexplicable, my mind imagined terrifying possibilities. What if humanity had unleashed something without realizing it? An experiment, a signal sent into space, an alteration of the environment that triggered a containment mechanism? The idea didn't seem so absurd when considering the context. For years, technological advances had accelerated uncontrollably, generating waves, energies, and behaviors of the planet never before recorded. Perhaps, somewhere in the cosmos, there existed a system tasked with maintaining universal balance, and Earth had been marked in red. Specialists continued to analyze data tirelessly, searching for a way to reverse the global halt. But the more they investigated, the clearer it became that they were not in control. The only thing they could do was try to understand the hidden purpose behind the signal. And it was then that a discovery emerged that completely changed the course of history. The signal not only contained a warning, it also contained coordinates. The coordinates revealed by the signal pointed to a remote point in the ocean, a place where there were no shipping routes or records of human activity. Nevertheless, a small team of specialists decided to head there using the latest ship capable of navigating without automated systems. I listened to every report from my refuge, knowing that this journey could mean the answer to everything we were experiencing. After several days of sailing, the team reported finding an area where compasses failed and the water seemed to vibrate with an unknown energy. Tension grew as they advanced, describing impossible phenomena that defied all logic. Finally, they detected a colossal structure submerged underwater, an object emitting a faint, pulsating glow very similar to the original signal. As they approached, all instruments began to function again, as if that thing had the ability to restore the lost balance. The team's final transmission came through static. They claimed to have activated something, an immense mechanism that began to slowly rotate. And in that moment, for the first time since that impossible day, I felt the Earth breathing once more.